Good morning, students. I've been asked for a little bit of a tutorial for how to use some different software to create some sort of visual for your infographic. And I'll just start with a disclaimer. This is another one of those topics that I feel a little bit anxious about posturing as an expert on. I can get by on Microsoft Excel, but I am by no means an expert. Many of you probably know a lot more about how to use it than I do, and there might also be some really good tutorial videos of much higher quality and production value out there on the internet as well. But I will try to show you a few things, just kind of a quick overview of how to use Excel. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to show you Google Sheets and how it has many of the same capabilities and may even be a little bit more intuitive for you than Excel. I grew up and was educated in a time before Google, so I learned how to use all the Microsoft software, and so it feels intuitive to me, but I know we are from different generations. So anyway, this is the sample table for the infographic I produced as an example for this assignment. I wanted to show you a little bit how I got here using Microsoft Excel. So the first thing that I did was just create this table. And I do recommend thinking carefully about how you will label the parts of your table, because Excel will actually grab what you have typed and put it somewhere in a chart. Sometimes you have to make it choose different things, but if you take your time with the labels here, it may save you time in the long run. Once you've got your data represented in a table, you want to highlight all of the content. So I've left clicked, and then I'm going to hold down my shift key and left click again, and it's grabbed all of this information and highlighted it. And then this actually didn't even exist when I learned how to use Excel, but I'm a big fan. So if you click recommended charts, which is under the insert tab, so we're going to insert a chart, recommended charts. It's going to look at your data and make some guesses about how you might like to represent it. So it's going to show you what a clustered column would look like, what a clustered bar would look like, what a stacked column would look like, what a line graph would look like, and even a stacked area chart. So take a look at these, and if you had something in mind already, hopefully Excel will give you this as an option. If not, there are more options. So up here, if you were thinking, well, I really wanted a pie chart, here's where you would do that. I don't even know what a surface or radar chart is, but if that's what you had in mind, here's where you could try to make that work. One thing that I noticed here is that I've got my X and Y axes backwards. I would rather have each of the courses in English be the columns and have these elements in the courses be represented by different colors. But I can switch that around. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this stacked column chart, which is what I used. And as soon as I click insert, it's going to create that for me. Now, pretty much from here, all I'm going to be doing is right-clicking on different items and choosing the format options. So if I right-click, I want to right-click somewhere where it's going to give me this longer menu, because what I am looking for is select data. So again, I have to click carefully so that I can get somewhere where I can do select data. It's going to bring me up this dialog box. And I mentioned that things were kind of backwards for me. All I have to do to fix that is this, switch row column. And it doesn't look great right now because this takes up so much space, but that is at least where I want to begin. And from here, it's really just about manipulating things so that I get what I want. So if I make it a little bit larger, it starts to look a little bit better. If I click in here, I've right-clicked again. It's not what so I've got this fill option. If you don't want a white background, you can create a gray background as long as it's not going to look the same as the gray you've already got. You can also change the colors here, and this is really interesting. So when I right-clicked on that, you can see that it highlighted a particular portion of my table. It's telling me that that is where Excel is pulling that data from. If that's not where you want it to be getting that data, you can manually select the data using this button. You can also change that color. Now let's see, is that what I want? I've already got the ugly rust color. So yeah, if I wanted a darker green, this is the way that I would do that. Would have to type my title in. So I'm left clicking and I can just type in the composition sequence at Mars Hill University. And this again is going to be one of those times when I'm just kind of turning you loose to try to experiment and see what you can figure out. Would almost certainly change this to a different color. Purples, that's nice. But I'm not going to spend too much time fiddling and making this look great. You should, obviously, but for the sake of this tutorial, I think that's enough. So again, I'd like for this to just go away now. All I'm doing, left click while holding down the shift key, insert recommended charts. I've got several options there, or I could switch to all charts. I wonder what that radar looks like. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Again, you don't have to do something overcomplicated. You just want to create visual interest. So I think that's all I'll show you with Excel. If you have specific questions or you get stuck, reach out to me and we'll try to figure out a way that I can see your screen through Zoom and try to help you troubleshoot. Again, I'm less familiar with Google Sheets, but it seems pretty powerful, which is not a surprise given all that Google is capable of doing. So this is just a random spreadsheet I was using to record some data for a research project. And look what happens if I just go to Insert, Chart. So I haven't highlighted anything. Google essentially looks at my entire spreadsheet, and there are more than 100 rows in this spreadsheet. And it noticed one particular column that I had was this classification column. And I didn't realize this until now, but 71% of the items I was looking at, I classified as article, 22% I classified as advertisement, 2.9% pictures, right? So Google is making a guess here about what I might like to have. From here, you can click Edit Chart, and you get the chart editor to pop up, and again, just fool around, see what you can find that looks good. That doesn't look good. Maybe I'll stick with the pie chart. You should also be able to change colors and labels. But again, I'm just not that useful a resource for Google Sheets because it's not the software I am most familiar with. But I hope this gives you at least a starting point as you think about how to create some sort of visually interesting chart or diagram. And you're not limited to pie charts and bar graphs. Venn diagrams might be appropriate depending on what kind of article you're distilling. A flow chart where you just show the way that a particular process works, which reminds me, I meant to show you an example. So this is an example of a flow chart. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to use this one, but if you think about something similar, some other way to use a flowchart, this is a pretty interesting infographic. It tells me when I am guilty of mansplaining and I should just stop talking, when I probably am mansplaining and probably should be quiet, or when I'm not mansplaining. So you don't have to feel like it has to be extremely rigorous scholarship that you're conducting. Feel free to have a little bit of fun. We need to be looking for ways to have fun these days. Okay, so that's all. I hope this is helpful. Hopefully a few of you will find it useful. Take care.